What's up, bitches? You're in the trenches with Jody and Jensen.
Hi, Jody.
Guys. Hi, Jensen.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Good.
How was your Friday?
It was the first Friday of 2025.
Holy
Isn't that
smokes.
crazy?
That is really crazy. Yeah. Where are we filming today, Jody?
Right from Wildfire Arms Studio.
Oh, so good.
Yep.
Like always.
Yep.
So, if you guys saw our first episode with our first special guest, Dylan.
Right.
How'd you guys like it? Well, we're back with another special guest.
Right. We just have all the special people wanting to come chat with us.
Mm-hmm. We do.
Mm-hmm. So, who's here today?
I'm so excited.
Tell us.
Guys, it's none other than my mom, Jen. What's going on? Welcome for Jenny.
Hey.
Not from the block.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hi, Mom.
Hi.
Thanks for
Jensen's
coming.
Mom, hi. I'm so happy you gave birth to this guy.
Yes.
Most of the time, I love him.
Most of the time.
Definitely times I want to push him out the window.
Right.
But
Yes.
But you'll still love me even in that moment.
probably.
Right.
Yeah. I'll cry when you fall.
Right.
Yeah.
And then record.
Yes.
Right.
And then upload.
Yep.
You have to pay extra to see that.
Yeah, that's
But,
on our
yeah.
Patreon. Anyways,
Right.
Mom, thank you so much for coming today.
And thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
It's an honor to be here.
She watches all of them.
I do.
We need somebody to watch him,
Right.
right? Thank
And
you.
I even subscribe.
Yes, that's the important part.
Mm-hmm.
Some
Yep.
people just watch it. Just like and subscribe. That's all.
Yeah.
Please.
That's all we ask
Please.
for.
Please.
It costs you nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Anyways, Mom, well, now that you're here in the studio with us, tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us the lore, the Jen A lore.
All right. So I grew up in a small town. 30 miles from here, north of here. I grew up on a little dairy farm.
Oh, how
Cute.
cute.
But also, I had grandparents that lived east of another small town, and they had a beautiful ranch home on a creek. And I spent a lot of time between the two places. And I have 5 brothers and 3 sisters.
Wow.
So I come from a big family. And I have 2 moms. I have 2 dads. And
Sounds like my life.
yeah, I had a wonderful life growing up in between the 2 places, and I had wonderful grandparents, and
Oh,
just
that's so sweet that everybody just got along and they were happy and loved each other. Yeah.
everybody. Yeah. I had a wonderful life.
What was your favorite thing to do growing up?
I loved playing at the creek, and my gram had a lot of chickens, and my papa had horses. He was a horse trainer and a horse breeder. So I got to grow up around that. And then I had my other side of the family that had the farm with the cows. And back then, they produced milk, and they delivered milk to all the communities, all the school districts, all that type of thing. And so I grew up on the farm. I had to do everything the boys did, and I was the
Wow.
only girl at that time.
You're the oldest.
I am the oldest girl of all of us, and I had to haul hay and feed cows and feed baby cows and everything else, just like the boys did.
You're a busy girl.
My dad did not care that I was a girl. I had to work as hard as my brothers, and I did.
Yeah. Could
Yeah.
you do that?
Probably not.
Right. Me either.
I'd be like, my Q-tips, where's my SPF?
Right. Where's my chapstick and my Stanley's?
My mom's more of a man than I am. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, so anyway, that's how it was, and
Slay. How many people were in your graduating class?
probably, I would guess, like 300, maybe.
That's pretty
yeah,
solid.
that's a decent size.
yeah.
I loved high school. That
Did
was
you?
the most wonderful time of my life, was high school. I was, my sophomore year, I was sophomore class president.
Wow,
Slay.
fancy.
Not really, but I loved high school. It was the funnest time of my life.
Oh,
I
that's
loved high
cool.
school. I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I hated high school. That was the worst time of my life. Not me. I loved high school. But remember, it was back in the early 90s, so life was different back then.
Right.
Right.
And we
Right.
had a lot of fun. And, you know, I had my first car was a 1973 International Scout.
Slay.
What is that?
Very faded, olive green. But I didn't care. It was my grandfather's.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yes.
Was it fast?
Not necessarily fast, but it could four wheel. So me and a lot of the guys I was friends with in high school, we all had four wheel drive vehicles and pickups, and we would go and mud bog and had fun.
So you were really like a little small town country girl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a lot of girlfriends. My friends were all guys, but I had a lot of cousins that went to high school with me, and we were all best friends.
Yeah.
So
That makes it nice.
I was really pretty much a tomboy growing up.
Slay.
And I have 5 brothers and 3 sisters. So I had 5 brothers.
That's a lot of boys.
That is.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
It's a lot of testosterone in one
And
Yes,
we
it
had
is.
3-wheelers, we had dirt bikes, and that's what I grew up doing.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Just
that.
all the stuff.
Yeah.
What was your first car? Made me think.
Well, it was kind
The
of
Hyundai.
yeah, the Hyundai,
Hyundai.
Hyundai Elantra.
Yeah.
I had
Rest
it-
in
It
peace,
was
girl.
it was new,
Yeah.
so it was nice.
Well, I
Oh,
bought
right.
it from. It was yours, and then you got a new truck, and then I
Yeah,
bought it from you.
yeah, yeah.
I have an 83 Honda Civic.
Slay. Built to last.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
What'd you do after high school, Mom?
Well, I graduated in May and got married in June.
Slay.
He just went right along with the program.
I didn't have to get married, but I got married. And then let's see, that was 94. And then in 96, I had my first baby. My only daughter.
Oh,
Yeah. So she was born first. So I turned, let's see, she was born March 5th, and I turned 20 on March 30th.
gotcha.
So you're like low key kind
so-
of a teen mom.
Yeah,
Kind of.
right on
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But I was married.
Yeah.
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 Well, I really wanted to get my mom on here because I feel like you two lived parallel lives.
Right.
Like getting married young, having kids at a young age, like, and we've had conversations about this before, like, and you and I have too, about all you guys knew from such a young age was being a mom and being
Yeah.
a wife.
I had 2 kids at 20.
Yeah.
Like,
What was it like for you, Mom, being like a young mom and like
Well-
getting married right out of high school and all that?
Well, so back then in the small town I lived in, that's what you did.
right.
You got married. You started having children, and
Like you didn't think about going to school or no.
I didn't.
Yeah.
That came later. But at that time, no, because
Yeah.
that's what my mom did, both of my moms, and my grandmother. And it just, and mind you, this isn't nowadays, this is way back when.
Right.
I just thought that's
Right.
what you do.
Right.
So I did.
And it wasn't like, it's just wild to wrap my head around that because I'm in such a different era and that's like not a thing anymore.
Right.
Right.
Like
It's-
that's not,
It's
But
so
in
not
our
common
day
to get
it
married.
was.
Like
In our
right.
day, it was.
Yeah.
but
yeah.
your like, your situation was like a little different because you had,
Like I had to.
you had
Yeah.
to, and then you just kind of didn't really know any better.
Yeah, I didn't have to.
That's just
But-
what you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then, so when your last baby moves out, then you're just like, what the hell do I do now,
So,
right?
I really loved the episode you guys did when you talked about that because Jensen and I watched it together and I kept going, oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Like
It's
everything you were
crazy.
saying. So when Jensen left home, I've had to rediscover who I am.
Right.
didn't know who Jen was.
Right. You never took the time to do that because
You're
you
too
graduated,
busy.
got married, had kids, and
Yeah.
And then you had kids at home for what, 20?
27 years. By the time my oldest, which is my daughter, left home, and then he left home, was 27 years. That's a lot of years
Yeah,
to
it
have
is.
kids at home, which
Right.
it's a blessing, but that's a lot of years to, when they're gone, you have to know who you are.
Right.
And he's been gone. Well, he's back home now, but he was gone for a year.
Yeah.
And that year was really hard for me.
I bet.
My
Yeah.
husband was like, like the first 2 or 3 months Jensen was gone, I'm pretty sure my husband was like, this girl's a
Right.
wreck.
I didn't sign up for this, right?
Yeah, I didn't
know.
sign up for this. But
Right.
he's so sweet and he helped me through it, and then eventually by about 5, maybe 6 months, I was like, okay, this is fun.
Right.
Like I started letting myself have fun.
Right. Because when you first have fun when they're gone, you feel guilty.
Yes. Or my
like-
thing was, I kept having in the back of my head, we would go out with friends or whatever, and I would be like, oh my gosh, I got to get back home. I got to get dinner. And then I would stop and go, oh, wait, I don't have anyone to make dinner for.
Right.
Or
Right.
do laundry for. Or it's just so ingrained in your brain.
Right. Because that was your identity for so long.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been tough, but then once I hit the point where I was like, wow, this is kind of fun. This is kind of nice to just do my own thing sometimes.
Right. And then he moved back home.
And then, yeah.
And now I'm worried about dinner again.
Right.
I'm literally fine. Like, I'm
It doesn't
good.
matter
Yeah.
if you're there, like that light turns on.
Yeah.
I have a kid living at home
Yeah.
and I have to do this, this, and this.
Yep.
And I have to put clothes on.
I have
So
to
you
help.
ruined that for her.
I have to help make sure that all his laundry for his job is done.
Listen. Mom, we just name dropped. We can't name drop. We're going to have to bleep
Oh,
that.
well, we'll have to. Okay.
We're gonna have to
Take it out.
Okay, I bring right. I'm an esthetician at a plastic surgeon's office, and I do all my own laundry. Right, besides like the sheets and the towels, we have like a company that comes and does
Right.
that. But like my blankets, my robes, my headbands, I take all that home and do it myself, and then I just put it in the laundry room because I'm like, oh, I'll do it later.
Actually, I do it most
I don't ask her to. I'm very
like, he's got to have this stuff ready, and I'm gonna do it for him. And
Well-
but sometimes you're gone
Right.
doing things,
Right.
And I see it sitting there, and I'm like, he needs it, so I'm gonna do it.
well. Thank
Right.
you,
I
mother.
feel like people just do that.
Yeah.
You know, the night before your birthday, I'm like, I'm going to take this home and I'm going to wash it and take it back to the office so you have it when you come in. So you can have fun on your birthday.
Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Why do people do
And
that
I
for
told
you?
you, and I begged you.
I
was-
know,
I
but-
begged you. I said, Jody, don't take my fucking laundry.
Right.
And
I did.
And you did.
I took it.
Thank you.
I
Thank
didn't
you
fold
both.
it. You're welcome.
So-
But just so you know, now she has to wear clothes because you live with her now.
Right. I'm like hardly ever there anyways. I'm always out doing something. or-
Right, but
But
that's the
when
thing.
you're-
We don't know when you're going to show up. Like when a
So-
kid lives with you, you don't know.
So his sister will ask me, Mom, have you talked to Jensen? And I was like, no, I haven't talked to him. So I usually give him a day and a half. And if I
Before-
have not talked
Before
to
we
him,
file a missing persons report.
Yes, exactly. If I haven't talked to him by a day and a half, then I start
Yeah.
calling.
Listen, I'm just living my own life. I'm doing fine. I'm great. If something bad happened, I promise I will let somebody know. Kendall has my location.
Okay.
Kendall's the only one who has it.
Okay, that doesn't say a whole lot because is she going to tell me I haven't seen Jensen? I can't find him.
Well, you know, if I end up missing and you guys are like, where the fuck's Jensen? Call Kendall. She has my location.
listen, you
and if
said-
something goes wrong or if I die, like, I'll tell you guys. I promise.
You'll be dead. So how are you going to tell us?
Well, I'm going to come, my spirit's going to come to you in your dreams. I'm going to shake you.
Mm-hmm. right, but
I'm gonna be
before we
like,
fall asleep and dream, we're going to be like, where's Jensen?
well, lay your head down, take a breath. It's going to be fine. I'll come tell you. I'll be like, hey,
Listen.
bitch, I'm missing. Call the cops.
All it
And
has
then
to be...
send the search party.
She doesn't want to know every second of your day. Just, hi, I'm alive, love you.
But I get so busy and I just like don't think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm good. I'm alive. I
Well,
promise.
he only gets a day and a half.
Well, you're lucky you get a
Right.
day and a half.
and a day
And
and a half, I'm like...
and I'm very grateful, Mother. Thank you very much for the freedom.
It's mostly my husband. He's like, hey, have you talked to Jensen? We haven't seen
Like,
him.
where's the roommate at?
Yeah.
What's he
And I'm
doing?
like,
Did he move
"Alright."
out?
I was like, he's probably fine. But he's the one that's like, is Jensen okay? And I'm like, it's all right.
Right.
I'm going to give him another 12 hours.
She has a countdown.
That's
Listen,
it.
I'm
And he's like, okay.
listen. I'm very grateful that I didn't have parents that were like had a microscope on you.
No, I did not.
Like even in high school, but I was like a good kid for the most part. I mean,
He was. Well, this was my rule. If you make good grades and you do not lie to me and you come home at curfew, I will give you all the reins. But if you don't do those things, you don't get the
Right.
privileges. Oh,
Right.
and no tickets. No speeding tickets.
right? Of course
Right.
not. I would never.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So
Well,
you,
my son lives a whole state away,
right?
and occasionally you can't get a hold of him, which I don't like bug him every single day. He's grown, but when I start to notice, oh, he didn't reply to that text. Oh, 2 days ago I called him, he didn't answer. Oh, where is he? Then he forces me 5 days later to leave a voicemail saying, hey, if you just don't text me back and tell me that you love me and you're okay, I'm gonna call the cops for a welfare check. Guess how fast that boy called me?
He's all,
Right. Sorry, son. But it's one thing if we just never talk, but we talk at least 3 times a week.
Right.
right.
So when it's like on a Sunday and come Friday, nothing, well, he lives in another state. I have to make sure that he's okay.
Right.
So I threatened to call the cops, and he called me back in 2 seconds.
That's a good one. I
Yeah.
hadn't thought about that.
Well, you don't need to call the cops. I'm fine. I'm just out busy.
Right. But all you have to
My
say is,
friends.
what's up? Hey, girl, hey, that's it. And we know
Hey,
you're
girl,
okay.
Do I send a snap? Like,
Well, apparently,
Yes.
I learned in a couple episodes ago, the only way to get a hold of Jensen truly is through Snapchat.
Right.
Which I didn't know that.
Right.
So no wonder he doesn't answer my calls or my
Yeah.
texts. So then when I learned that, I was like, okay, I'm going to start
Like-
text. So then when I start texting him on Snap,
Then he
I get
answers.
replies.
Like, how? You should just have an iPod. You don't call anybody.
Yeah.
You don't read a text message.
listen.
Yeah.
Just have an iPod.
Yeah.
Save you some money.
Yeah.
Honestly, I might look into that.
Right.
Anyway,
Oh.
so now I get a hold of him through Snapchat, and it's worked perfect.
You can also
But I
share your
didn't know.
location
He
too.
never-
I share my location with Kendall. That is good and plenty.
Okay, well, why do we act like she's the one that should have your location?
Because
What if we can't find her?
She don't care what I'm doing. She ain't nosy.
None of us care, but if days go by, then we care.
Right.
Well, he only
so ask
gets
Kendall.
a day and a half, so
Okay. Day and a half,
Which-
we're calling Kindle.
yeah.
Yeah. Call Kendall
And then
first. Don't
she's
call
on
me.
a
I won't
fire.
answer.
Here's the unfair part. Jensen and my daughter are the only ones that have my location on Snapchat.
Which you can willingly turn off if you'd like. Nobody's forcing you to do that.
But she doesn't care because
Yeah.
she's not trying to be shady.
I'm not being shady.
Listen.
I'm just being exclusive.
When we have Life 360 and all of my people have decided to be on it, except Caitlin, she's like, I'm not about it.
Yeah, I'm with Caitlin.
I barely look at it. Like, unless
Yeah.
I'm like, did Kindle make it to that fire safe? Or did Dylan make it home safe? That's
Right.
it. Like, I don't even have time to stalk people. But I don't care if people know where I'm at. Like, I
Yeah.
watch Dateline.
Work.
But,
yeah,
like,
me. I
Seriously,
love Dateline.
if I'm traveling by myself, I want people to know my last
Yeah.
location. But when Gary and I leave the house, when it's not like, it'll say like mom went to work or dad left
Yeah.
home. If we leave when it's not those times, the phone blows up. Where are you guys going? Where are you guys going? They all want to know
That's how
where
I
we're
was
going.
when I had her location.
So there was one
Yeah, I'm
night-
like, the shit.
This was funny. So Jensen had not moved back home yet. And he has my location on Snapchat, which I forgot.
No, I had your Find My iPhone because we went to Mexico that one time, and you forgot to turn it
Shady.
off.
You were so shady.
Yeah, right. So he's right. So back in March, when my one son got married, Jensen had me share my location when we were
Makes
in
sense.
Mexico.
Yeah.
And we were on different flights, you know,
Yeah,
like
Right.
Well, I forgot about it. So all these months later, my husband and I went down to one of the local bars with our friends, just having a good time, right? And Jensen texts me out of the blue and he's like, "Oh, so how's such and such?" And I was like, "How do you
Stalker much?
Yeah. How do you know where I am?" And what did you say to me?
I said, I know people.
Yeah, I know people.
Like, you're just bored and you're like, let me see where mom's at.
Yeah. And I happened
Yeah.
to be at one of the bars with my husband
But-
and our friends, and he's like, I was like, how does he know where I am? Well, I thought it was Snapchat, but it wasn't.
No.
I had shared my location and forgot.
And then it took this bitch like 10 minutes, and then she finally figured it
She's
out.
like,
she turned her location off.
Right. Nosy.
It did. It took me like 10 minutes because I'm like, it's not Snapchat.
Right. It's something else.
I am not savvy on all the technology.
Yeah. They're way too into
And
it.
one of the people that was with us was a younger person, and they're like,
We're like, figure this out.
yeah, I was like, here's my phone. How does he know where I am? And he's like, you're sharing your location. I was like, what?
But if she had your location and sent you that same message, you would lose your shit.
He was.
Mom, why are you stalking me?
I throw my phone away.
Right.
Mom, I'm a big boy.
Yes.
What are you doing?
The rules are different, aren't they?
They are.
Like, if we try to call you guys, you don't answer and it's fine.
Right.
It's no big
And
deal.
they're
is.
supposed to be
Try to
okay
call
with
us,
that.
and if we don't jump, doesn't matter if we are at
Listen,
work.
we're out here being young adults and thriving, but we
Right.
know our parents are, you know, just at home like watching Dateline.
no, we
so
were-
you have no
if we're
excuse
at
to not
work.
answer.
8 to 4:30, people know I go to work.
Right.
And if I don't answer when they call me during those hours, I get 10 million text messages.
Because what are we supposed to do without our mom?
Okay.
You know. So you have 4 kids, Mom. I think you
Actually,
forgot.
I have 5.
Okay, 5, including my
Oh,
adopted
yeah.
brother.
We never talked about
Birthed out of your body, you have 4 though.
I have 4.
So where do
You
we all
pushed
come?
them out.
Yeah.
So biologically, I have 4, but I have 5. So our adopted son that Jensen has talked about came in our life when he was best friends with my middle son, and I think it was about the time they were about in 4th grade. He came into our life and stayed.
Oh,
So technically, I have 5 kids. And
Yeah.
when people ask me, how many kids do you have? I say 5.
5.
That's how I am. Like when
I
people are
love
like,
that.
"How many siblings do you have?" I'm like, "Wait, hold on, 1, 2, 7."
Yeah.
Yeah, I have 5.
Yes. You got a
And they're
lot.
like, you have 5. And if they question me, I'm like, yes, I have 4 biologically, but 5 are
Right.
mine.
Like if you go to the doctor and they're asking out the
They're-
gynecologist.
I have 5.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Where'd we all come from? Give us the lore.
What do you mean by where
Right.
did you come from?
Be more specific.
Okay,
because
like
from hell.
No, I did
Okay,
for sure.
right.
Look at me.
Right.
I know.
Whatever. Jensen came straight from heaven.
Oh,
Oh, I hate to even be nice to you, but yes, you did because you're one of my best friends, and I
know.
can't even.
So
handle
what do
it.
you mean
Cry.
by where
okay, because you
come from?
had like. Okay, in this podcast we do all honesty, right? Like it's just point blank,
Yeah.
period. It blunt. If you don't like
No
it, fucking
bullshit.
click off. No
Right.
bullshit. You had your first husband, and then you had your second husband. Like, where'd all those kids come from?
Okay, so my first 3 came from my first husband.
Which you married right out of high school.
Right out of high school, and then he became a mess, got on drugs,
Oh, right. That's
Yeah, this
the
is
meth,
yeah.
the whole bit.
tweaker.
Absolutely.
When's the last time you talked to him? Has it
A
been?
number of years ago, but I will say this, the last time I saw him, he is clean now.
Oh, that's good.
Yes. And
But like actually clean this time because there was like a lot of like in between periods where like he was clean, he wasn't, he was clean, he was what, he
Well,
wasn't.
this time he's been clean for a number of years.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that ended, and I got with Jensen's dad. And so my daughter was 8. My son under her was 7. And then my third boy was 3 when I got with Jensen's dad. And he raised them as his own. And that's really the only dad they know. So
That's really so cool.
Yeah, my
For him
third
to do
son,
that. Like Gary, yeah.
he was only 3, and now he's 24.
Yeah.
So
Kendall was 2.
That's their dad.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
Yeah, that's their dad, and he really is, even to this day, their dad.
Right. Like I see the family pictures
Right.
and they're with your dad.
Even
and
though like years later you guys split up, like it was still
Right.
all of our dads.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, that says a lot
That
about him
never
as a
changed.
dad. That he's
Absolutely.
like, it doesn't matter. These kids
Yeah.
are still my kids.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, and that never changed, even to
like
this day.
no question about
No,
it.
no. And that never changed. And so, yeah, that's how it was. And then Jensen's dad and I got together, and of course Jensen was born, but that's never changed. Jensen's dad is all their dad.
Right. Like, regardless, obviously you guys didn't work out, but you have to have respect for him for still
Absolutely.
loving your kids like that. Like, that's huge.
Yep.
That's so cool.
And then years later, he married a really wonderful lady, and my kids and grandkids are her kids and grandkids too.
Good.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't always happen.
No.
It's-
And we do birthday parties at their house for the grandkids and all kinds of stuff, and we all do really well together. And I get questioned a lot about, isn't that weird, and why do you do that? And I'm like, it's not about us. It's about all of our kids.
Right.
And most of all, it's about our grandbabies.
Yeah.
Because those babies don't know anything different, and they shouldn't.
Right. Right. Aren't those grandbabies the reward for raising the asshole kids?
Gosh,
Like,
yes.
people would say that all the time, and I'm like, I don't know. I love my kids so much. And then when Tatum was born, I was like, you're kidding me. I didn't think I could love anybody
I know.
like I
Yeah.
love my kids.
I know.
Or more.
I get that. Because when I'm with my grandbabies, so it kind of goes in line with what we were saying about when your kids leave home and you are a little lost.
Right.
So whenever I'm with any of my grandbabies, I am back to center.
Yes.
I am.
that totally makes sense.
I am the most happiest. I feel at peace, and I know how to do it.
Right. It's like you're more present. Like I was saying
Oh,
on the
yeah.
other episode, like,
Yep.
obviously you enjoy when your kids are growing up, but
Not
when
like your
you are in the thick of
grandbabies.
it, you don't enjoy it like this. Like,
Because I think that with grandbabies, you actually 100% live in the moment.
yeah, you do.
But when you're a mom and everything's crazy and you have games and lunches and dinner
Right.
and you're
So
trying to
much.
keep a house clean and somebody forgot their lunch or somebody forgot their backpack
Yeah.
or whatever it is,
Right.
you don't live in the moment. You live in a lot of stress, really.
Right. It's
But-
just go, go, go.
Yes, but when your grandbabies come and you're older, that
Yeah.
makes a big difference.
Right.
When your grandbabies are there, you are literally in that moment
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the time.
Right.
All the time.
Yeah.
And
No, you're
I am
so
the
right.
most at peace and happiest when I'm with my grandbabies.
How many grandbabies do you have, Mom?
So I have 5.
Oh.
6 will be coming in February, but between my husband and I, we have 7 and 2 more coming in February.
That's
so
so
that's
fun.
actually going to make 9 for us.
That's so cool. I love it.
9. So I have my 5 kids. He has 3, so that makes 8. So technically, I have 8 kids
Right.
with us together.
Right.
And then we're working on that many grandbabies. So,
That's the fun part. Seriously.
yeah.
People would say that all the time, and I'm like, oh, yeah, whatever. But until you live
Oh,
it,
yeah.
like when they came over before Christmas, Tatum wanted to do Christmas crafts. Like we have the table out, glue, sparkles everywhere,
Glitter
and I'm just
everywhere.
like dying inside, but okay at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
who
just like,
cares?
whatever, let it happen.
Yeah.
When it was my kids, I would be like, okay, now we have to clean up the mess. Like, now let's do this. But
Where now as
like,
grandparents,
okay.
you're like, we'll leave the mess. I'll
right,
clean it
when
in
you
the
go
morning.
home, I'll clean it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
It's not
it's
that.
so
It's
good.
not that deep.
it's not. It's not.
Well, because once your kids leave home, then the realization that they're gone sets in.
Right.
So when you have the grandbabies, you soak every bit
Right.
of that up.
Right.
You don't care about the mess.
No.
You don't care about any
No.
of that. You're just every second you're just soaking it in
Yeah.
because they're going to go home.
Yeah, and you see your babies in those grandbabies.
Yes.
So you just
Yes.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one
Wait,
day
I'm
you
gonna
might not.
cry.
It's true.
It's
so
true, Jency.
If I could literally spend every
No.
day, I actually envy
Hmm.
the grandmas that get to keep their grandbabies. Like
Like every day.
not necessarily every day, but maybe the grandmas that have their grandbabies a couple times a week.
Yeah.
I envy that. I wish.
Yeah,
I
we
had
get
that.
we get ours at least once a week.
But yours
not
live
too-
far away.
Right.
They do. So I do have grandbabies that live close, but I have grandbabies that live far.
That's got to be so hard.
It is.
Because Gary and I always joke, if Tatum and Colt move, we're getting the camp trailer and we're going to follow them. Like,
Yeah. So it was funny. A few weekends ago, I went down and spent Christmas with my daughter and her husband and the kids. And I said to my son-in-law, we were all in the kitchen and laughing and stuff. And I said, would it be okay if, like, I ever came down here to live and maybe I could just live close? And he's like, all right, here's the deal. We love our parents, but nobody
No.
is going to live in our house. I said,
You're-
what about next door? And he goes, well, that would probably be okay. The kids can run
Right.
back and forth. He goes, but none of our parents are living with us.
Right.
And I said, well, I didn't mean that, just close.
Yeah.
And he's like, that would be okay.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And you don't want to live with your kids anyways.
No,
like,
no,
yeah.
no, no, no.
Unless it's me, you know.
Right.
Listen, I mind my business. I don't bother nobody.
Listen, do we judge?
No, we listen.
Okay.
But we don't judge.
Okay.
Right.
We're working on that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Jensen's actually been really fun to have at home
I
again.
bet because
It has been fun.
I bet just working next to him, I'm like, I feel like I'm working next to one of my kids.
Yes.
And it's just like, I'm sure everybody else is like, what the fuck is going on right now? What are they laughing about? What kind of
Probably
fuckery?
we're laughing
Like,
about, yeah.
Well,
and it's
that's
the
kinda-
dumbest stuff.
Well, and that's how it is at home. So my husband's like, what do you
What?
guys like? Why? Like, why is that funny?
And it's funny because when I lived with Kaylee and Blythe, that's how Kaylee and I were. And Blythe was like, that's my sister I lived with when I went to school. And Blythe, her husband, was like, what the fuck are you guys laughing about? Like, it's not, what? You're literally
Right.
dumb. And
Like, why is
it's
that so funny?
Right.
My husband.
It's just girl code
My
things.
husband.
Yeah.
My husband's the same way. But I will tell you, he's like, you know, the greatest part about Jensen being here is the lingo I have learned.
Right.
And I teach
That's-
our doctor lingo that we work for.
Yes.
He said,
Yes.
okay, he hates this younger generation, right?
Yeah.
I'm totally calling him out right now. Hopefully he doesn't watch this. He probably is secretly.
But that's how Gary is too.
Yeah.
He doesn't get the lingo.
He doesn't get, so our doctor that we work for, he doesn't get the lingo. He hates the younger generation. He's like, you guys are a wreck. Like, I'm scared for our future. I've been teaching him lingo. So I taught him like what slay means and gas and like, oh, this shit's fire, like all that. And he said slay the other day and I think I almost cried.
Yeah, so that's my husband. So we'll have conversations and he'll say a word that Jensen has taught him.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Right.
Give him his flowers. He
You
did
just have
great.
to like keep on.
yeah.
Okay,
What's that
It's
game that I told you that Gary hates? That's-
Incoherent?
Yes. He's like, I don't know this lingo. I hate this game. I never win.
It's okay.
But it's so funny.
Yeah.
But
It's so good.
It is.
So I have a question for you too. So So
for both of us?
yes,
Okay.
at the same time. Well, one of you can talk first. But
Yeah.
anyways, like I said earlier, you two I feel like have lived like the same lives in like a parallel universe. What was it like raising really young kids in fucked up marriages? Or marriages that were going through trench ass times?
it was a lot of playing pretend, put on a happy face in front of the kids so they didn't know something was going on.
Yeah.
You don't cry until they're in bed and you're in the shower because even though I know now looking back, they sensed something was wrong, but it's always put on this brave face. Everything's fine. Just smile and make it through.
Yeah. Damn. Because both of your first marriages were, might I say, fucked up?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's perfect. We can all
Right.
sit on here and be like, oh my god, my life's so perfect. We've all been through the
Right.
trenches. You were with an abusive narcissist and you were with a meth addict, a druggie.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so, what was yours like, Mom? I wasn't born yet, but...
A lot of what Jody is saying, it was just, well, first of all, I was so young and so naive that now, not that I would go through that, but now I would know what to do and not do.
Right.
But back then, I didn't know what to do or not do. I
Right.
just was literally trying to protect my kids, keep my head above water, and I don't know what else.
Yeah, and you're raised to just, I think we were brought up similar that it's the guy and you just go along with whatever and you don't really think for yourself. At least that's how I felt. And if I thought half as much as I do now,
Right.
back then,
That wouldn't.
oh
right.
no.
Right. But I was young, and I hope it's okay if I say this, but
Say whatever you need.
we were both raised in LDS families, and we had been married in the temple, and even though he had done all these drugs and all these bad things and stuff, I was like, I'm not getting a divorce. I'm going to make this work. I'm going to do everything I have to do to save this marriage and protect my children, which I'm sure for some sounds dumb. But
No.
when you're young, we're talking early 20s. I did everything I could, but then obviously eventually,
Right. You realize you're doing more harm by staying.
yes.
You think you're going to stick in it and you're not going to have to send the kids somewhere else every other weekend and you're just going to like see it through. But then it gets to that point to where you're like, they see this.
Yes.
They see that you're making it okay to be treated like this.
Absolutely. And that mostly rang true with me with my daughter, because she was the oldest and my only girl and highly intelligent at a very young age. And yes.
Yeah.
Well, I have to tell you too, it was also my brother that came and basically grabbed me by the shirt collar and said, you are taking these kids and you are leaving and you are coming to live with me and my wife.
Yeah.
And he literally came to the house, and my mom and my mother-in-law came and helped us pack up the house. And my brother took me in with him and his wife with my 3 little kids. Like I said, my third son was, well, at that time he was only 2. So we went and lived with my brother and his wife for a while.
Yeah. That's good that you had that support for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it took him
Right.
grabbing me and saying, what are you doing?
Right. Because when
Because-
you're in the thick of it, you have blinders on.
Yes.
You don't ever
When
step
you're
back.
in the trenches.
Yes.
If you will.
Yes.
Yes.
In the trenches, if
Yes,
you will.
and I was, and he came and gathered me up and the kids, and he literally forced me, which was not wrong. I needed that.
Right. Right.
And I went and lived with him and his wife for, gosh, I think a year. And they took me and my little kids in, and he kept my ex-husband completely away from us, from the phone, from everything. And then not long after that is when I met Jensen's dad. So
And how long were you married to Jensen's dad?
6, 7 years?
let me think. We got together in Let me think. Sorry, it wasn't.
Oh,
ready
no, you're
for
good.
that
You're
question.
good.
Nobody's ever,
I
nobody's
know.
ever ready around
No.
here.
So we separated in 2013 and we got together in 03. So 10 years.
Oh shit!
10 years.
Right.
Damn,
You were wrong.
I absolutely was.
I mean,
Yeah.
honest mistake, like Crisco,
Crisco, Blue Krakow.
Blue Krakow.
Right.
I'm going to show you that bottle when we go inside. There's no
It's still
mark.
not pronounced Blue Krakow.
Well, there's no
Jody.
mark on it.
You're done.
Just so you know.
You're done.
You were for sure there was a mark on it. There's not.
We'll Google it.
Okay.
Anyways.
Oh,
Anyways,
the little
yeah,
swoosh
it's
thing
not on
he was
there.
talking about.
It's not.
Okay, well, that's not.
Okay, I just
anyways,
wanted you to know.
Right. You're
Okay.
done. You're fucking
Before I
done.
forgot to tell you, it's not there.
Anyways. Damn, that's so. What? Okay. I've had a lot of people message me, specifically young moms who have watched our other episodes and been like, oh my god, I loved your guys' podcast, it was so funny, but there's also so much shit I could relate to
Yeah.
in my own life. If there are young moms out there, young couples that are in some trench ass times, kind of maybe similar to what you guys went through, like, what's your advice to them?
Well, number one, I don't think you should ever be forced to get married because there's a baby involved, because that doesn't mean everything's going to be just, roses. Like, be you, because if you just lose yourself and the baby and the husband or what, all that life, nothing's going to be okay. And, like, speak for yourself, which are the things I don't think we did. Like, we didn't. Well, number one, even if I did, I don't know what I would have said because so naive, so young, but just remember to take care of yourself, which it's easier said than done, but take care of yourself, because if you are aligned, everything else is going to fall into place.
Mm-hmm.
Well, true, because it's like you can't live with your cup half empty.
Right.
If you don't fill your own cup, you are never going to be able to give everybody else what they need if
Yeah.
you can't give yourself what you need.
Right. And it's exhausting.
And I get it though. There's sometimes, like, for example, my daughter, neither I or her husband's mom live close. So she's on her own a lot. And, just little things like being able to get her hair done or go get a pedicure. Or,
Right.
Go to the store by herself.
Yeah.
Or even go to the grocery store. Let's just downscale to that.
Right.
She doesn't have that.
Right.
And
That's
that
a
has
luxury
been-
for her.
Yes, it is. And that has been really difficult for her.
I bet.
And so I don't really know how to navigate that. But if you do have family close, take advantage of it. Obviously, you don't take advantage of it. But you cannot be your best self for everyone around you. And I'm talking husband and kids.
Yeah.
If you can't be your best self for yourself, you always have to fill your own cup
Yeah.
in order to be able to give that cup to everyone else around you.
Yeah. You're right.
And like low-key mad respect for my sister, because I lived with her for a year when I was going to school. I lived with her and my brother-in-law, and it was nice for her because I watched the kids a lot.
Right.
So they were able to go out on date nights, and they were able to, she was able to go to the store by herself and catch a fucking moment.
Right,
Catch a
to
fucking
breathe,
breath.
yeah.
Catch your breath.
Without a fucking shitty diaper in your face or a
Right.
kid screaming in
It's
your
a
ear.
lot.
Right.
Yeah.
But even when, like, shit was so chaotic, and I mean, you guys know how it is, you had kids, like, it's fucking chaotic. She still does to this day, just keeps it together, still just doing what she needs to do. She doesn't take it out on anybody. She doesn't, like, it's just together.
She's got it figured out somehow.
She
Somehow.
does. She does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, mad respect.
My daughter, she lives like 20 minutes away, and she's now a working mom, which like
That's
is
a
hard.
whole nother
Yeah.
realm.
Because it never stops. You go to work and then you go home and you're still working. So I feel like we help out a decent amount so she can, like, if she just needs to catch up on laundry or just do nothing, and I'm telling her, remember to do things for yourself. Like,
Yeah.
find out who you are, because seriously, one day they're going to be gone. And you're going to sit in the bedroom and cry and wonder who you are. So,
Here's the other thing, my thought, when Jensen was asking what you could give advice to young couples.
okay, thank you.
The other thing is, too, and I'm not talking about somebody that's married to somebody that's abusive or a druggie or a narcissist or anything like that. I'm just
Right.
talking about couples that are married, that they're both great people. Never stop dating your spouse, because someday when your kids leave home, you don't want to stop and go, I don't know who you are.
Right.
Because I think, and I've talked to a lot of people, that when their last child leaves home, they end up divorcing because he was so caught up in work providing for the family, and she was so caught up in taking care of the
raising it.
children,
Right.
and the cleaning and the cooking and all the sports and all the things, that they grew apart. And then when the kids leave home, they
Yep.
have nothing in common
Right.
anymore. Like, they fell out of love with each other because they're strangers.
Right.
So date each other. Even
Mm-hmm.
if you have to hire a babysitter, have date night at least every other week.
Yeah,
Sometimes
I agree.
every week is not sustainable, but every other week, hire a babysitter and keep what brought you together.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good advice.
I think I said this in a few episodes ago, but y'all correct me if I'm wrong. But I told Jody, I was like, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the key to a solid marriage or solid relationship is truly being best friends.
Yeah, it is, because, and I'm sure that Jody will agree with us, it's real. Once you get older in life, things change. Our bodies change. You're not always going to be able to have sex. Like, you have to be best friends.
Right.
And maybe somebody gets Alzheimer's, or somebody, you never know what can happen. So you have to make sure that you're very best friends, so that someday, as we're aging and we're going to continue to age, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But if you always have the basis of being very best friends, and I think the other thing too, in my mind, no judgment and no expectations. I
That's
think
good.
as married couples, if you can get rid of judgment and expectations, there's nothing you can't do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the fact that Gary doesn't judge me for, like, I'm out here doing this podcast
Right.
and he's just smiling and laughing and
Yeah, he's so
supporting
cute.
me, like,
Yeah.
you know, and that's like the bare minimum of the things that he has to accept. You know, he still is accepting that I'm trying to learn
Yeah.
to be a mom to 4 adult children, you know.
But
There's-
you're in the
but he's
stage,
there.
like I am, that you're relearning who you are.
yeah.
And that's all part of this, but
Yeah.
he's accepting of that. That's why I'm saying, if
Yeah.
you can be a partner that you don't judge and you don't have expectations,
Right.
I think it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, it totally does. Because if he wasn't so supportive,
If he was
I don't
being
know.
judgmental.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know what would have happened.
Right.
Because he just listens, gives me the advice that I need, and keeps on loving me. Yeah. No
and
judgment.
he's so sweet. He just giggles.
He just,
He just
really
I
does.
was in the house talking to her before we did this, and he just giggles. He is just so cute.
Yeah, he's just like,
giggles.
oh, Jody and Jensen. They're
Yeah,
just up to their
I
old.
just let him do their
shit
thing.
again, right.
He's so cute. But anyway, yeah, and I think that's the biggest part. I think that there's times that we, whether we're a woman or a man, we tend to try to be a little more controlling than we should be, where you just need to let your spouse be who they are.
Right.
Let them have the hobbies they love.
Yeah.
Support them, love them. Let them have their wings.
Right.
Don't hold their wings in.
And
Yeah.
Let them be who they are.
That's so
Yeah.
cool too, because when you like, if you do have a supportive spouse that just kind of lets you just do what you want and be you, on the other end of it, like, that person realizes that and they're like, oh my god, that's my person, like, I love them, like, they don't care, like, they just love me for me, like, it doesn't go unnoticed.
It's safe because you don't have to wake up and try to be somebody different. It's just like, this is what you get. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Good morning.
One more day you woke up to this. You're welcome.
Right.
You know,
it's real. It's so real.
It's true. It's true. And the biggest thing for women, I can't speak for men because I'm not a man, obviously.
Me neither sometimes, but
here we are. You'll get there, Joe. But the biggest
we're on our way.
Like Jody said,
change my own oil.
Feeling safe. Like you're safe. It doesn't matter what happens, you're safe.
Yeah.
And you're protected. I think safe is the greatest word.
Yeah, because if you're safe, then you feel like you can just be who you are. You can just say how you feel, you know, just work through it with that person.
Yes.
Otherwise, I would have to keep a whole bunch of shit inside of me if it wasn't safe for me to talk to Gary and just be who I am.
Right.
So
I'm gonna cry.
No, it's true.
That was so wholesome. Not in a bad way. Like, that was so wholesome.
That's true.
That was so wholesome.
My husband's the same way. I have to say, it took me dang near 50 years. I don't care. People know I'm 48 years old. But it took me...
Jody's 25.
Forever.
It took me 50 years, but I finally got it right. But that's how he is. He's just like, babe, you be you. He always tells me, you do you.
It's not that deep.
It's not.
It's not.
And I've loved being back at home and seeing you. I'm gonna cry.
No, but
we don't have Kleenex.
I have a Q-tip. But it's been so...
You can't cry. We don't have tissues.
I know. Hold on. Give me the floor for a second. Mom, it's been so soulful and so heartwarming after seeing you in all these trench ass times over the past, might I say, childhood. And I'm not saying that in a mean way or to degrade you, but not that how do I put this? Not that, like, the you and Dad splitting up, like, that wasn't like a messy thing, really. It was very civil, but then after that, like, just all the shit and the fuckery,
was a mess.
It was a fucking mess. And then seeing you in a actual healthy relationship and you guys laugh about everything, like, I may be in my room but I can hear the giggles, and it just brings a feeling over me of like, thank God. Don't look at me like that, Jody. Look the other fucking way. It genuinely brings like a sense of peace over me for you to be like, oh my God, thank God she has her person now.
I do. It just took me a really long time.
But you learned so much from the other shit.
Well, and that's true. So, him and I have talked many times, and he has said, because I said to him one time, I wish we had found each other a long time ago. And he said, I'm glad we didn't. And I said, why? And he said, because we both had to learn the things from our past and our mistakes to be who we are now. And I said,
that's true.
I get that, but like, exactly what do you mean? And he's like, well, are you the wife that you were in the past that you are to me? And I said, no. And he said, I am not the husband to my past that I have been to you. And I'm like, it was like a light bulb went off, and I was like,
right person, right time.
Yeah,
right.
You're exactly right. I had never thought about it that way. But because we've both made mistakes and we've both been in bad situations, we appreciate each other so much, and we show up.
Right.
No judgment, no
you just
expectations.
love each other for who you guys are.
And we're good friends. We laugh all the time. He's so funny. He makes me laugh
Oh,
all the
that's
time.
so good.
I'm gonna actually start
Stop
crying
it.
because it's so
Yes.
true. Like,
Stop.
He makes me laugh all the time.
I know.
That's all I do is laugh.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they really do have a good time. I know I'm not there a whole lot just because I'm out doing my own shit, but like when I'm home
Right,
or just
we
like in
heard.
my room chilling. Right, fuck you. When I'm out just like
There.
chilling in my room, like they genuinely do have a good
We
time.
laugh all the time.
That's- so
Honestly,
good.
and it brings like such a sense of peace over my soul to be like, thank God
Yeah, it's
somebody's
gotta be
right for,
such a good
for my
feeling.
dearest mother.
Right.
Love
And that's
her.
how, like, sometimes it's a bad thing for my kids, I think, because, well, for my girls, because they want to put everybody up to the standard
Of
as
their dad.
Gary. And I'm like, well, let's just not do that
Right.
because he's a unicorn. So,
Love Gary.
but they have nothing but good memories. I mean, Kylie and Caitlin,
Your two oldest.
they remember, yeah, my two oldest, they remember the last one, but
Yeah.
my little ones, they just remember me with Gary. So, and that's just like, it's a calming feeling for them. Like Kendall would tell
Yeah.
me that. So,
Yeah. I
like
love
that.
that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just such a
Yeah.
good feeling to know that my mom and her honey are okay, and then like my dad and his
Right.
wife,
everybody's
are-
just happy.
everybody's
Yeah.
just happy, and
Every-
it's really, even though like there was some shit in the past, which
Right.
is not a bad thing.
Sure.
Life happens, but it's nice to know that everybody at the end of the day is good.
Right.
Yeah.
It is.
That's nice to hear that coming from like a child's point of view.
Yes.
That makes a difference.
It really does.
Yeah.
And that's
Really
why I'm
does.
saying, I've had people question me, well, why do you, like, I see Facebook and stuff, and you guys are all at these parties together. Isn't that kind of weird? And I'm like, no, it's wonderful because it's about our kids and it's mostly about our grandbabies.
Because it's such a societal norm to be like, oh, we're divorced, we hate
Right.
each
To
other.
be enemies.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
None of us are.
But
that
Right.
way.
I mean, not that you guys are besties for the rest of, having drinks every night. It's not like that. But
Well, we could.
I mean, you could. I mean, fuck it.
I
Why
mean, we
not?
Do we need to get more chairs?
Fuck.
More mics? Like,
Right.
come on, Jensen.
I
Right.
mean, we all get along well, and I hope it's fair to say we love each other.
Yeah.
But most of all, we love all of our children together, and we definitely love all these babies
Yeah.
together. And
That's facts.
that's all that matters.
Right.
The way I see it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yes.
Yeah, that's so real.
It is.
Well, I have another question for both of you.
Oh boy.
Again, you guys have like a parallel universe, I swear. So maybe this might be a little blunt and honest, but I'm just gonna be so real.
Oh, shit,
You
Jensen.
you have a lesbian daughter. You have a gay son. Not everybody experiences that in this. Who's calling?
It's your friend.
Kendall.
She doesn't know.
I'm gonna answer
She's on
right
a fire.
now. Hey, we'll call you back in like an hour. We're podcasting right now. I love you. Bye.
You hung up on her.
Yeah,
She's gonna shoot you in the face.
that's fine. Okay.
So are
So-
we editing? Because I gotta go pee. Really.
No, Mom, you can't. You gotta hold it.
You have to just
Okay,
hang out.
so you have a lesbian daughter. You have
Correct.
you have a gay son. Hi, everyone. What was that like navigating? Because not every mom and parent has that in their life. So what was that like?
Right.
Go
So,
ahead, Jody.
No judgment, no nothing. Just be blunt.
Your friend. I'm gonna be asleep, but okay, good night.
Okay.
She's mad at you.
Well, that's fine.
So you said what was it like?
Yeah, like what was that?
So
Because not like that's not a
It-
thing that life prepares you for.
Right.
Might I add? I don't know.
it wasn't like life changing or hard for me. Like what changed for me was I became even more of a mama bear because of all the judgment she was getting, and I wanted to just like rip everybody's faces off that had something to say about her. Because what is who she loves, what does that affect anybody else? Like, I mean, and it was super casual the way she told me, like, apparently people had thought anyways, but I guess I was oblivious. I never thought about it once. And she had been going to Pride in California with a friend, and I guess I'm dumb. I just thought she was going to hang out, support her friend. And one night she called me, telling me how much fun she had. And I didn't even think about it. It just came out of my mouth. They said, Caitlin, are you gay? And like silent, like, and I'm like, wait, what did I just say? Why did I say that? And it was just silent on the other line. And then she's like, yeah. And I'm like, sis, what, do you think you couldn't tell me? And she's like, I said, because if that's the case, I'm sorry for anything I did for you to think you couldn't tell me. And she was like, no, I was just trying to make sure that this is like who I really was.
Right.
And it's not that easy. And like, I'm like, well, you know that we love and support you. She's like, I know. I had to make sure this is who I was. And it was like, I don't know. Nothing changed for me. Like I've had friends say like they would check in, are you okay? And I'm like, why are you checking on me? Mm-hmm. She's not dead.
Right. She
loves a girl. Like, okay, like that would make me mad. But that's the only, like, nothing changed. Like, it really, I never was like, oh, now I have to reroute my brain or anything like that. Like, it just, I became way more protective, and there's not a part of me that doesn't believe that she is not who she was born to be. Because when I see her with her wife, that's exactly who she was meant to have in her life. And there's nothing at all wrong with her. So when people judge off of who you love, I can't. I just can't. It doesn't affect you, so don't worry about it. Just let people be happy.
I'm gonna cry.
Like, I get so angry about it because she's happy. They're both happy. They're beautiful. They're thriving. They're good human beings. And at the end of the day, that's all I've ever wanted for my kids, is to be happy and be good people.
Yeah.
And she is both of those. So I don't care. I don't give a fuck who she loves. She's happy.
Take notes, bitches.
My girls.
That's so real. What was it like for you, Mom?
So we're talking honest.
Blunt honesty, like no judgment.
I didn't have the same experience as Jody, and Jensen knows this.
And that's fine. There's no rule book to this.
Right.
So my experience was very different. I knew, but was in denial because I kept thinking, he just thinks he's gay, but I don't think he really is. Maybe he'll meet a girl, maybe this, maybe that. Anyway, but the night he finally came out and told me, I'm sorry, but I had to come apart. Jensen knows this. I had to come apart. And
it's just real. Like, no animosity, no hard feelings. Like, it's just real.
There's no right or wrong reaction.
I was really angry, and I just kept thinking he was confused. Like, maybe he really wasn't gay. Maybe he just thought he was. Mm-hmm. But as I asked very specific, detailed questions, and he answered the questions very specific and detailed, I was like, no, he's gay.
He is.
And I struggled. I struggled. Thank God this happened, and I had basically 4 more years with Jensen at home to learn how to do this and get used to it.
Yeah.
Because he was really young. But by the time, well, even a year or so before, I shouldn't say 4 years, it didn't take me that long, but by the time he had left home, I was like, I was where you were.
Yeah.
But not at first.
Yeah, and I think that's different for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't ever have any inkling. Like, she was a tomboy. She wore, like, athletic pants and her hair in a ponytail and a headband, but I just thought she was going through a tomboy phase. And then 8th grade, she started wearing makeup and a dress, but I never, like, people would be like, really, you didn't know? And I'm like, I didn't know. I didn't. Like, no. As Jensen would say, it wasn't that deep. to me at that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I get that even every once in a while. People will ask me the same question, and I'll be like, I didn't know. And they're like, yeah, you did. He was really different. How did you not know? And I was like,
You little faggot.
I didn't see that. I just didn't see it.
Yeah.
But anyway, it doesn't
Right.
matter.
It doesn't.
But I agree with Jody now. I don't get many comments because everybody that knows Jensen absolutely adores Jensen. So I don't get
I agree.
comments like that. Everybody just loves him.
Yeah.
That's all there is to
Right.
it. And so I don't get those comments, but so I didn't really go through that phase.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's been a while. Like that was when she first came out, but I'm like, why are you checking on me like she died? Like
Right.
it was weird at first, and then I'm like, oh, because you think I should just be having like a total meltdown because my daughter just told me she's a
Right.
lesbian. I don't care.
Right.
Like, but that's been
I never really
while.
went through that because everybody was always like, "Oh, we already knew, but we already love Jensen, so what's
Right.
it matter?"
right.
So I guess, in all honesty, I learned to I learned how to be accepting like everybody else was because they saw what I didn't see. But then when I knew, it took me a while.
Yeah.
But
What was like,
but with that being said, I was never ugly to him. I was always accepting of him and very kind and loving to him. Where I
Good.
fought was here,
Right.
not outwardly.
Right.
It was,
And that probably
it
made a
was
huge
here.
difference to him that you were, I mean, he
It was
knew he
just
was
in
still
my
loved
own-
and supported.
It
Like,
was,
I knew it was-
it was my own battle with myself.
Yeah.
I never battled him. I just battled myself.
right. And I knew that, and I'm not going to lie and be like,
Right.
"Ooh."
Right.
Like, just straight up and honest, like, I knew she had a hard time with it. And at first I was like, well, why don't, like, I'm just me. Like, why is that so hard to, like,
Yeah.
you know, accept? But then I had to realize where other people were coming from because it wasn't just her. It was other people in my family that were like, I don't get it. Like, how do you just be gay, if
Yeah.
you will? Like, just being
Well,
so blunt and honest.
yeah.
And I still don't know. I don't know if it's a gene thing. I don't fucking know. All I know is that I'm me, and that's
That's just who you are.
just who I am.
Right.
And I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what it is.
Right.
But I'm still, there's more to me than just my sexuality. And
Exactly.
if you can't see past that, then
Right.
that's your own
Like
problem.
I said to you the other day, like, I am straight. I like men.
Mm-hmm.
And I never had to, like, make an announcement to anybody
Right.
about who I loved. So it just, and I know some people might be like, oh, okay, you're dumb. It's more than just that. You know what I mean? Because in my mind, it should just be black and white. It should just be like, oh, you like guys? Oh, you like girls? Like, okay, let's move on. Unless, you know, it's harming somebody, like you're loving somebody that is a child.
right.
Then
That's
let's
not-
worry.
that-
Right
yeah.
now, like, so, and I guess it's really naive of me to just say that because I feel like it should just be black and white, but it's not. And I don't know the struggles. I mean, I don't understand the struggles that you and Caitlin have gone through, but I try to protect her as much as I can.
It's really wild. Like, the only way I know how to describe it, I guess, is when you kind of have that, like, like, it's always in the back of your mind, even from, like, a young age. It's always in the back of your mind, like, maybe this is so blunt and real, but fuck it, we're real on this podcast.
We're
Like, from
so real.
like a young age, like, I always looked at boys, like, even before, like, any sexual thing, like, it was just like, oh, he's cute. Like, in the back of my mind, that's how I thought.
Yeah.
And I don't, like, it was just always there. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I had, like, girlfriends and, like,
Right.
fucking elementary school, but who doesn't? But like,
Right.
in the back of my
Right.
mind, I always, like, boys were attractive to me. And not in, like, a weird, creepy way. That's just how it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You
And
just
then-
remember thinking, oh, that boy is cute.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, when you're watching, like, Disney Channel and, like, you know, like, Wizards of
Cody.
Zach and Cody, Wizards of Waverly Place, like, damn, that, like, their brother's cute. Like, that's always just, like, in the back
Right.
of your mind. So I don't know what it is. I don't know. But all I know is that I'm just me, and there's more to me than just being fucking gay.
Right.
And if you can't see past that, that's your own
There's-
problem. I don't know. That's all I know how to put
That's
it as.
the last thing on my mind when I look at you or think about you.
And like, if that is the first thing on your mind of like, who's he in bed with? You're fucking weird.
No,
first of
that's
all,
true.
I'm crying.
So,
I'm crying.
well, here's
just-
the other thing
Because
that I'm
I
gonna
love
say.
you.
don't make me cry.
I love
me
you
too.
so much. And I love you like you're one of my kids. It's weird. Like you're one of my kids, but then you are one of my best friends. And to think somebody's going to hate on you, they're going to go through us first. That's
Yeah.
not going to happen.
Well, here's the other thing that gave me a lot of comfort through the years. I don't know if it's fair to say comfort, but let me finish and you'll get it. So I firmly believe that our children pick us.
I believe that.
And I took comfort in knowing that Jensen picked me to be his mother for a reason.
In all the next lifetimes.
And
Forever.
and there's a reason that Jensen picked me to be his mother. And I needed to live up to that no matter what that looked like. No matter what challenges came about, or I don't know if that's fair to say a challenge, but we have had challenges, not the gay thing, but we've had other things. But what all that looks like, he still picked me of all the women in the universe to be his mother. So there's a reason that he picked me to be his mom.
Yeah.
And it was important to me that I lived up to that. And my other children as well, not just Jensen. You know, right?
Right.
Right. Listen.
Right.
Right.
So I needed to live up to why my children picked me, why they picked their dads they picked, whatever. I can't speak for the dads, but I can only speak for myself as a mother. Our children pick us for a reason, and
Yeah.
we better live up to that. We better
Damn.
deliver in whatever that means.
That's so real.
Right?
Bitch.
Yeah.
That's so real.
Don't you agree
Please
though,
bring
Jordy?
it.
But
Yeah.
what do you have?
Yes.
What do you guys have to say to? Not that I'm trying to make this whole fucking gay episode, like nothing like that, but there are a lot of parents who struggle with that, where they might have kids that are gay or kids that are lesbian or kids that are bi, like all that. Like, what do you have to say to those parents that are so against that and so just like, that's not my kid, I will not love them for who they are?
Like, well, number one, shame on them for saying that they're not going to love them. Like, we all handle things differently, and just because we don't understand doesn't mean it's wrong. But, like, you have to love these kids through everything. And this world is so hard
Yes.
to grow up in, especially right now. And if those kids don't have the support that they need at home, it's going to be a very sad life for them. And sadly, it's a matter of how long until they decide to end it because they don't have support. And like, it doesn't mean that we understand, like, people can't understand me, and I'm not gay. So it doesn't matter if they understand why you like a boy or not, why Caitlin likes a girl or not. If you are a good person, you deserve all the love and respect that us as parents can give our children.
That's so real.
Well, and my thought is, not trying to get churchy, because that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just going to be honest. We are not here to judge anyone.
No.
Fuck no, we're not.
None of us is
None
any
of us
better.
are here to judge anyone. And I feel like, as parents, if we judge them, we are going to be judged for judging them.
Right.
Our job is to love them and accept them
Right.
and support them no matter what. And if you're struggling with that as a parent, that's a you issue.
Right.
That's
Right.
a you issue.
Right.
And I can say that because I struggled. That was a me issue. That wasn't a Jensen issue.
Right.
And that's how I see it.
That's so real.
Yeah.
It's not
I
our
agree.
job to judge them. It's our job to love
Love
them,
them.
and support them, and know that our door is always open, and you are accepted here. You are safe here.
Right.
That's our job as parents.
Yep.
The rest, that's not on us,
No.
right?
Right. Our job, like you said, love them, support them, give them the tools that they need. You're the safe place, and then everything else.
Falls into
Yes,
place.
exactly.
Yes.
And just coming from a child's point of view, dealing with that, like, you don't know how to deal with it. And you lock it away for a long time. Like, I thought I was going to be married with a wife and kids, and all of a sudden come out and be like, ooh, yo, I ain't like that, you know?
Yeah.
But obviously it happened when I was...
You thought you were just going to go through the motions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know what to think.
Right.
Like, you don't know if it's a phase. You think every boy goes through it. You literally think something's wrong with you, and you literally pray to God every night, like, please don't make me this way.
Right.
Because you don't want to be that way. You know what I mean? Nobody asks to be gay. You know,
Right.
nobody asks to be lesbian. You know, it's not something you choose to be. You can choose to accept yourself,
Right.
but you can't choose who you love. That's not
Yeah.
a choice.
Right.
And that's what Jody
I agree.
was saying.
Yeah, I agree.
And coming from a child's point of view, if your family members, your parents, or whatever is having a hard time like accepting you, you also have to remember that, like Dylan said this in the last episode. He said it's everybody's first time living. You also have to remember that, like, they don't understand, because, like, for you didn't grow up around gay people. Like, that wasn't a thing that was talked about.
Right.
You know, so I had to come to a point where I was like, nobody was in a
Yeah.
small town, nobody was gay. Like, that wasn't even
a thing.
a thing.
Yeah.
Like, there just wasn't, you know. But
Right.
I had to come to the realization that, like, oh, they genuinely don't. It's not because they don't love me. It's just because they genuinely don't understand it.
Right. And I mean, listen, we don't have a manual
No.
how to raise kids in general,
Right.
let alone, oh, and your child's gay, so go to chapter 6 and learn this.
Yeah.
Like, there ain't no chapter 6.
Yeah.
Right.
No, Jody's exactly right. And
It's just YOLO.
Yeah.
You've got to figure that shit out.
But with that being said, same thing. Just love and acceptance,
Yeah.
and that they know they're safe with you. They're safe in your home. They're safe in your presence.
Right.
Everything else, God, the universe, whatever you choose to believe in, it takes care of the rest.
So
But you want them to be a good person, and you've raised them to be that way, so you need to be as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I agree.
And no matter who you are in this life, not just having to do with sexuality, but no matter who you are, somebody's always going to find something about you that they don't like.
Right.
For me, I'm an easy target because it's my sexuality, if you will. Like, that's just an easy target for people, which is fine. I don't give a fuck. Like, walked into Ross one day, I was in full makeup, like borderline looking like a drag queen. I didn't care. I just had a good makeup day. That I did this crazy ass eyeshadow. It looked fucking sick. And I walked my happy ass into Ross, looked at the clothes rack, and then I walked outside, and there was this fucking meth head looking tweaker dude parked up front, and he had his window rolled down like halfway. And I saw him in the store earlier, and he was like eyeballing me, like, what the fuck type of look. And as soon as I came out of that store, he was yelling at me through his window saying, "You fucking faggot, you take that fucking shit off, you act like a fucking man, like you're a fucking faggot," like all this shit. And I just like looked at, like, it didn't faze me at all, but it was just wild that, like, you're a random stranger. I have no idea
Oh,
who
and
you
it's
are.
any better that you're a meth
Yeah,
head?
exactly.
Literally, I'm
like, who?
Bitch, you and your baby mama do tweak together. Like, you get a grip
Exactly.
first, then come talk to me.
Don't throw
No.
stones unless you live in a glass house.
Right. And none of us
Literally.
do.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah.
no. Well, he's lucky I wasn't with you.
Right. I didn't, like, it didn't
Fight
even bother me. I was
Jody
just like,
and I would have done
Right.
the throwdown.
I heard somebody yelling, then I looked over and I realized he was like pointing at me, and I was just like, what the fuck?
just-
Meth is a hell of a drug, not even once, right?
Caitlin went through something kind of like that. She was at a store in the valley, and some ladies in line behind her saw she had like a gay flag on her shoe or something, and they were having this conversation about her behind her back. And I'm just like, Caitlin, what they look like? I'm gonna drive down there. I'm gonna find where they are. But I'm like, you were in line to pay for something. What were you doing to hurt anybody? Nothing.
You weren't.
And
but
she was by herself.
that's what I'm saying. You
Like,
could be a fucking saint in this world, and somebody's always going to find something
Right.
to just hate about you. And that's fine.
right.
Nobody's everybody's.
No haters here.
You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's fine.
No. Right.
That's fine.
Do you want to talk about cups?
Tell us about your Stanleys real quick, Jody.
Your cups.
God, she's been waiting. Before we end the
Well,
episode,
you said
tell
we
us-
were going to talk about it.
I know. Tell us about your cups.
So this is Sweetheart.
Valentine's Day collection
The Valentine's
2020-25.
They came. And there is Ruby right there. The Valentine's collections. And look how cute with the hearts. And I got them.
Do you want to tell everybody what time you ordered these at the other night? 1:30 in the morning off the Target website. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It worked because they got shipped to me last night.
But I'm going to say on one of the last podcasts, Jody's like, well, I think I'm only going to get 2 next year.
Yeah.
So I told Jensen.
What she said, you're at your limit.
I told Jensen, I was like, okay, so does Jody realize those
she doesn't.
these are her 2 for the year?
She doesn't realize that.
I was wondering.
No.
I was wondering.
No, because listen, this is what's happening. All of a sudden, they're getting really like holiday-ish. Like, there's hearts. So are they going to do something for what?
St. Patrick's Day.
Oh,
President's Day.
No.
Martin Luther King Day.
Settle down.
Flag
It's not
Day.
that, it's not
Now,
that deep.
let's talk about
Cinco
the
de
St.
Mayo.
Patrick's Day. That's...
That would be so cute.
Oh, yeah. That's
I'm
my
just
favorite
saying, like,
holiday.
this makes me think, like, this is the year that, how am I not going to buy more than 2? What? And we're in January, and we know if I don't buy any all year, for sure, in November on Black Friday,
That's fine. If
I
you
will-
can go fucking 10 months without buying one, you have all the Black Friday you want. I'll be really proud of you.
then I'll get the Black Friday and the 2 limited editions that they do at Christmas time, too.
Sure. Sure.
So that'll be 5.
5 a year? It's better than
Let's
5 a
hope that
fucking week.
Stanley is listening.
We say that every episode.
do.
We really do.
We really do, because can you help a girl out, please? Everybody thinks I'm insane, and I'm
You
doing
are.
it for you guys.
And let's take a note. I do not have one single Stanley. Would love one, but just can't.
Listen, all this.
Listen, I'm
spend the
sharing
money.
with her tonight.
Listen, all the Stanleys that I have been gifted to me. So love a good
Yeah.
hydration moment, but I don't need you have over 50 now.
Stop
50.
counting. Stop counting.
I'm counting.
Okay, could we talk one more minute
This
about your
bitch.
sister?
This bitch.
Q-tip.
Yeah, let's
Hey,
talk about those.
Listen.
Can we just... What did I do out of the kindness of my heart?
Listen.
Let's talk about it.
So my sister last year at Christmas,
And
2023.
she's so cute.
Jody met Kaylee on FaceTime the other
She's
day.
Oh,
so
you did?
cute.
Yeah.
Isn't she
I want her to
wonderful?
be my friend, too.
Yeah, dude, Kaylee's a
Okay.
great ass
Kaylee's
sign.
a G.
She's
She
so
really is.
cute.
So my what?
I said her name.
I say
Oh.
her name all the time.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
fine.
Okay.
Right. So my sister Kaylee, Christmas 2023.
But let's also talk about what a G Jackie and Megs are.
They are, but we're at Kaylee right now.
Oh, okay.
Right. So my sister Kaylee she's always wanted a Stanley, right? And so she saw a Facebook ad one day for a Stanley,
Well, this is funny.
and it was what's it called? Country
Gold.
Country Gold.
Limited edition Lainey Wilson.
Yeah. And she saw an ad for it on Instagram, and it was around Christmas time, and it was at like a discounted price. And she was like, oh my God, I'm finna get it. So normally a limited edition is like what, 70? This thing was only like $30. So she was on cloud nine. She's like, this is a fucking steal, add to cart, express shipping here in 2 days, like at my fucking doorstep type shit. Well, myself and my brother-in-law were like, Kaylee, this is a scam.
Yeah.
First of all, it's a limited edition Stanley.
Right.
They're not going to discount it like that. And second of all, it's on a random ass Facebook ad that's not even the Stanley website.
Right.
What are you doing? No. She orders it anyway. She gets these random ass Chinese ass letters for her tracking number.
Mm-hmm.
And we couldn't read it because it was all in another foreign language. So, more of the story, the cup never shows up. Bitch is out $30.
She was so upset.
She really was. So she got like a Stanley knockoff thing from another website. So I started calling it her Scamly, right? Because she got scammed.
That's a sad day.
It really was a sad day. I felt really bad
She
for
was
her.
sad.
She was really excited. And then I found out this bitch over here to my left had the Country Gold limited
So
edition
pretty.
Lainey Wilson Stanley. And I said, Jody, I gave her the sob story about
He
Kaylee.
did.
I said,
Fuck you for doing that.
I said, I will buy this off you. I really will. Can I give this to my sister for Christmas? I will buy it off you. And she pondered it for a few weeks,
Right.
really.
I was like, number one, you even asking me if I'm going to get rid of my Stanleys is so wrong.
But you have 50, so I'm sure it's not that deep.
But I will never get her again until
Right.
I see her like pop up on this Facebook group for $95.
Right, or 105.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyways.
So I asked Jody, I was like, listen, I'll buy it off you however much you want. Just like, can I have this out of the kindness of your heart? And she pondered it for a fat minute, if you will. And then one day she was finally like, you know what? Yeah, I'll give it to you. So I took it out of her cabinet and I said, how much do I owe you? And she said, nothing, just take it and we don't ever speak of this again.
Right. So for the people that think I'm not going to heaven, think again.
Here we are. We're still going to hell.
Right. Well, whatever.
Right, you're driving the bus.
Right. I'm going to be
Right.
in charge.
Right.
So I get like special things. I get.
Right.
Jody gets a big pit stop.
I do.
She
Yeah.
does.
At Buc-ee's in Crisco, Texas.
Uh-huh.
We're going to pick up some blue Krakow.
Oh, brother.
You could see how, and I didn't say Costco, and you said Costco.
Well, you
I
said
said
Crisco, and I thought you were talking about a store because you were just talking about Buc-ee's, so I was like, Costco?
Listen, when I'm laughing, my abs are hurting from.
Right, and then you're going to
Trying
piss
last
yourself
night.
again. Right. Anyways, do you ladies have anything else to say to the
No.
audience? Any words of wisdom?
I'm out.
Penny for your thoughts? Mom?
No.
Well, I think we gave him a really good episode.
Yeah, it's
There was-
more than a penny, just so
Right.
you know.
It's like 25 cents. Anyways, well, thank you guys all so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Leave us a comment down below of what our next episode should be.
Right, let us know what you want us to talk about.
What do you want to see in the next episode, Mom?
Gosh. Well, Kendall was supposed to be a guest.
The bitch is on a fire right
Yeah,
now.
so
and I
my
just hung up
baby's
on
working.
her. I just hung up
Yeah.
on her on a FaceTime, so she's
Yeah,
probably
so-
pissed at
Right.
me. Sorry,
Jensen
Kendall, I love
asked
you.
Jensen.
me to come on here, and I said, "Wait a minute! I thought I had more time. I thought Kendall was coming on." And he's like, "Well, the bitch is on a fire." So I was like, "All right, I'll do it." So Kendall needs to be on next.
Yeah, it'll be
Yes.
baby Kenny next. And then,
So I love that you guys have guests. I think that's really
Yeah.
fun.
we just got to mix it up a little
Yeah.
bit. And
'Cause people get tired of our bitch asses.
right, I get tired of you.
And I get sick of you, so throw up in
it's
my
been
mouth.
nice to know where Jincy came from.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll have to
Forever
have,
grateful for Jenny from the block.
we'll have
for
to have you back,
this
Mom.
guy.
it's Mama Jen.
Mama Jen.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Oh, and let's talk about for just a second about Jensen. So, when Jensen was born,
How much did he weigh?
6'11", but he did not almost make it.
Oh, you told me.
yeah,
this.
I almost fucking croaked. Her and I
Yeah.
both almost croaked.
Yeah. So Jensen was so meant to be here.
Yeah.
So
You fought for your life from day one.
can I tell the story?
Tell it, girl.
I'll keep it short. So about a month before Jensen was born,
Not the dogs.
yes, I was walking down steps to feed our dog, and I fell. And when I fell, obviously you try to protect your stomach, so I fell backwards and all the way down the steps. Well, I didn't know, but it put like a hole in the amniotic sac. So for 4 weeks, it like my fluid very
just
slowly
leaking.
dripped out, and I didn't know. So then when I went into labor with Jensen, there was no
He was
fluid
dry.
in there. There was none. So I labored for a long time, and the doctor we struggled. They had me in every position. We kept losing his heart rate. It was a mess. And then finally, the nurse that was in the room said, "I'm going to get Dr. So-and-so because we're going to lose this baby." So, and thank goodness, before this, they had given me an epidural that had morphine in it, which they don't normally do, but they gave that to me. So, she's like, "We're going to lose this baby." As the nurse ran out of the room to go call this doctor, he happened to be walking in the hallway. And she grabbed him and brought him in. And he shoved the other doctor out of the way, and he's like, if we don't take this baby now, and he had already been no heartbeat, like whatever. They rushed me into an emergency C-section. And because I had had the epidural with the morphine, they didn't have to do anything to me. Just
that's why they
go.
did.
Yep. And they brought him out. Well, by the time all that had happened, he had been without any heart rate, oxygen, anything for 10 minutes. So they worried, and he didn't cry, nothing. He wouldn't cry, nothing. So they were worried that
Stop.
he had his organs were damaged, mostly his
Right.
brain.
That's a long time.
So they took him right
Jensen.
away, put him on a helicopter to fly him down to the valley to Phoenix Children's. His dad went with him. Of course, I couldn't. I was
Right.
stuck there at
Right.
a C-section.
You were fucked up on
Emergency
drugs.
C-section. And he never peeped. He never said. He never did nothing. And they're like, "Oh no." They got landed on the tarmac, and when they started wheeling Jensen, he was in an incubator. All of a sudden, he just came to life, started
What a
crying,
shithead.
started the whole bit, and he just flat came to life. But they were still worried that it affected
What damage?
his brain,
Yeah.
his organs, what's wrong. Nothing, absolutely nothing. So he stayed at the hospital for, don't quote me, I'm guessing 2, maybe 3 days. And then his grandma and his dad, she went down to get him and brought him back home, and you'd have never known.
That's
Never
wild.
known.
Jensen.
The brain damage.
Nothing.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My soul was trying to go back, and God was like, "Oh, go the other way." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Yes, sir."
Yeah.
Right.
I said, "I can't do this today," and he said, "Nope,
You can.
So,
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. That's too damn bad."
right. Exactly.
And I walked my happy ass back to here, and now here we are on
yeah.
a podcast.
we
Yeah.
are.
Wow.
He just came to life on the tarmac of the hospital that day, and here we are.
So dramatic.
I know.
Always dramatic.
Some
So-
things never change.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Good one, Jody. I never thought about
Yeah.
it that way, but you're right.
And here you are.
At least I'm not boring, right?
Right.
No,
Right.
No,
at
at
least
least
you're
we're not boring.
Our
Right.
house has absolutely come to life since Jensen's
I
been
bet.
back with us.
I bet.
Hair flip. Right. And maybe a lot of things in this life, but boring is not one.
Boring is not
True.
one of them.
Anyways.
I'll make a list of things, but
Right.
yeah, boring's not on
not-
it.
that's
Boring's not on it. No.
Anyways. Well,
No.
again, thank you guys so much for
Thank
watching.
you.
Yeah.
We love you guys so much. Be sure to like and
Like
comment
and subscribe. Please subscribe.
That's all we're asking. It's free. It's fucking free. Just
Right.
for God's sake.
Subscribe.
Anyways, well,
Okay.
we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.
Peace, love, Posty.